Well, I turn to Matthew chapter 18. I think it is Matthew chapter 18. Matthew chapter 18, verse 10. The question is, do we have guardian angels watching over us? Now, this is the passage that we get this teaching from. Matthew chapter 18, verse 10. Yet you notice in the passage it doesn't quite say that. Matthew chapter 18, 10. Take heed ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Now the idea there is that little boys and girls have a guardian angel takes care of them. And the classic dime store picture is little boy and girl crossing the stream on the broken down bridge. And there's an angel standing right there, with wings, a nice female stork-winged woman. I like that, exactly right. And standing right there taking care of these kids, make sure they don't fall off the stream, off the bridge. Now, it's a beautiful thought, and there might be some truth in it. If you apply the thing like the angel of the Lord is speaking to Paul in the book of Acts when he's in prison at night and that kind of thing, you could get that. And if you go there and go to Ecclesiastes, either say before the angel was an error and pretend they're still here, you could do that. And if you go over to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, it says the woman ought to have power on her head because of the angels. You could say the angel is still here in person, watching women, when checking to see if they got the head covered. And the angel is still here on the earth, comforting people in situations like they comforted Christ and Paul. And the angel is still here in the sense of a guardian angel. Now, I don't believe it that way. That is, I think the final revelation of the New Testament, and I don't believe except on rare occasions God would use an angel for anything on this earth, although he might. I couldn't deny it. I couldn't teach doctrinally there weren't any angels here. However, if I understand the New Testament, if they're here, they're very confined, their activities. And I'll give you two examples of cases where I thought maybe something intervened, but then again, whether it was an angel or just the Lord. But have any of you ever had what they call a traumatic experience? Have any of you ever been real close to death? Real close, just a real close shave. And notice how right in there's a kind of a vacuum right in there, right at the point where something kind of just, the time spreads out. Now in Hollywood they've caught on to that the last 20 years. When they get to a big scene of action, they're going down in slow motion. So you get all the bloody, horrible, gory details. But there's a place right in there, before that train hit me on the track and took me 235 feet, bounced around like a ball bear in a sardine can. There's a place right in there with this kind of a gap like this. Now, I've seen that thing about 3 times. And whether it's an angel present doing the work or just the Holy Spirit operating, I don't know. But I do know something supernatural is going on. One time I was there. One time I was going over a mountain in a blizzard up in West Virginia in the passes above Wagon Wheel Gap in a blizzard with a car with no chain in the tires, where it went off the mountain into a 2-foot ditch filled with snow and hit on the axle and came back out again on the highway with the whole rear end of the car picked up and placed on the highway with 4 guys sitting in the back seat, not going fast enough to bounce, going 8 miles an hour. And we got over the mountains. On another occasion, I was coming around in a car coming across a bridge in Alabama, the country road at about 35, and a bunch of colored fellows came around the corner of the cornfield. I couldn't see them, the same bridge at about 40, and we met on the bridge, and the bridge was a 1-track bridge, made for 1 car. And got as far as I could, thought sure I had a wheel hanging over, and went by, and they went by, the faces just, like that, and went on down the road, and I went on down the road, and then I turned around and stopped and went back. Because I said to myself, that bridge is not big enough for 2 cars. And I went back and looked at it and measured. It wasn't. 2 cars couldn't have passed on there. The only 2 cars could have passed on there would be both the outside wheel would be that far off that bridge, going over that thing. Well, the outside car, the inside or outside car swinging might have got 1 set over, but not 2 sets. Somebody taking care of me. Now, folks say guardian angel. I couldn't prove a guardian angel or not a guardian angel. But the passage you just read doesn't say the angel's here with you. The passage you read said a little old boy or girl down here has something up there in heaven that represents them, and that child's appearance up there is always in the presence of the Father. And I'm not going a long time. We've got to wind up here, but I'll put it on you if you want to spend some time in Daniel. In Daniel, a government down here has a representative up there, and a power down here has a principality up there. Everything down here has a pattern up there, and it's like the Lord didn't have to even bend over to see what's going on. The whole thing's right in front of him. You have angel of churches. A local church down here has an appearance up there. And if you remember that the word angel means an appearance instead of a messenger, you'll get it much better.